Alright, welcome. This is the interview being conducted on behalf of the Center for U.S. War Veterans Oral Histories in association with the National Guard Militia Museum in Seagirt, New Jersey, a partner of the Library of Congress Oral History Project. Today is May 1st, 2021. I am Matt Berger. My honored veteran today is my grandfather, Joseph LoRicco, who served in the United States Army, 1st Battalion Battle Group, 7th Cavalry out of Korea. Excuse me. Joseph served from July 5th, 1960 to July 3rd, 1962. We are conducting this interview in his home in Hopewell, New Jersey. Thank you for wanting to be here today, as your eyewitness account is considered a primary historical source and a valuable contribution to the Oral History Project here at the museum. Good afternoon, Joe.
How you doing?
You heard about this project after I mentioned it, the recent work that I've been doing for the museum through my internship at Monmouth University. So to begin, where were you born?
I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey.
What were your parents' occupations when you were growing up?
I think my father was a private painting company by himself with a couple other people.
Did you have any siblings growing up?
Excuse me?
Did you have any siblings growing up?
Yes, I did.
What were their names?
As a matter of fact, my older brother Santo, then my twin brother Rocco, he beat me by 9 minutes. And then my sister Virginia.
Were you the only one to serve?
I was the only one that served. My brother Rocco had a child on the way and was rejected for that reason.
What jobs did you have before your service?
I worked in the mailroom when I was a kid out of high school. And then I got myself transferred to what they called data processing back then. It was IBM machines, sorters, IBM cards, collators, 407 calculator machines which you had to wire, not program, you had to physically wire them to do what you wanted. And then after that, I lost my job. Insubordination. However, the guy that fired me and his boss both came to my wedding.
So, when you heard about the military service, were you drafted or were you enlisted?
I was drafted.
How did you feel about being drafted?
Oh, was I PO'd. I got drafted 2 months, less than 2 months after I got married.
So you were leaving behind your wife when you got drafted?
I couldn't bring my wife with me. I had to go Fort Dix, New Jersey.
What branch were you entering?
Army.
So your initial point was in Fort Dix?
My initial entrance was Fort Dix for 2-month training, I believe it was.
Was that just
8 weeks. 8 weeks.
8-week basic training?
And then I got shipped to Fort Riley, Kansas. And that was for advanced basic.
Where'd you go from there?
From there we went to California and waited to be shipped to Korea. I don't remember how many days we spent there, but.
Do you have any vivid memories from training?
Plenty of memories.
Was there one that stuck out in particular?
Yeah, there was a couple of things. In Fort Dix, my wife came down to visit me, but I had gotten into trouble, so I had to do 15 days of extra duty. And it was this colonel's son that volunteered to take my place to do the extra duty so I could sneak out with my wife.
Were there any special instructions that stood out?
Special instructions? No, I don't remember any special instructions except get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, do all your PT, then after breakfast, you went and did litter patrol. Because we were in Fort Dix and people came on the weekend and they littered up the lawns and the property, and that was our job, clean it up.
So what was your first job after basic training?
I was in the military. I was in the 111 was my MOS, Military Occupation Specialist, and that was infantryman. It was against my wishes because I had data processing experience, and they were short of 742 MOS. That was the data processing people. But because I was a draftee, I didn't get my choice. However, if I re-upped, they would give it what I wanted, but that wasn't my desire.
Did you receive any promotions?
Well, it's a long story because when I was in Fort Riley, Kansas, we were doing a usual run in the morning, and I started to get this idea that if I physically couldn't do it, I might get a military medical discharge. So I faked everything. I couldn't run, my legs hurt, my back hurt, I couldn't breathe. Well, one day a sergeant came up behind me and pushed me. And as a reaction, I just went like that, and I hit him in the mouth with my elbow. And that's where I got my Article 15 from.
Okay. So after, where was that Fort, what?
Fort Riley, Kansas.
Then it was to Korea?
Then from there to California,
then-
waiting shipment to Korea.
Okay. So once you arrived in Korea,
Well, first of all, we were being flown out because they wanted to get us there December 8th to relieve the previous people that were there. And so we flew there. And when I arrived in Korea, I was amazed. Here was a sergeant carrying my duffel bag up the hill, because we lived in Quonset huts. You're familiar with Quonset huts? And I said, "Oh, this is great. Oh man, this is gonna be good." So I get there and there's nobody in the barracks there, the Quonset hut, except one sergeant. And I laid on my bunk, and the sergeant came out, introduced himself, and I said, "Anybody that stays in this army more than 2 years is out of his mind." Not knowing that the sergeant was in there for 18 years already, but he had been busted down so much that I assumed he was only a 2 or 3 year person. So from that day on, I got mistreated. How? Well, everybody got rifles and 45s to carry. I got a BAR. And a BAR was a Browning automatic. Heavy weapon, you had to carry your ammo. And that was assigned, that was my weapon that I was assigned.
was your role in combat or more combat support?
We were there just in case I know it's racist to say it today, but the way it used to be said was if Joe Chink came over the line, we had to be there.
What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you feel in the service? Was there anyone you bonded with?
Well, I tell you, there was a couple of officers that were really great people. 2 or 3 good sergeants, 30-year people. That made it a little more bearable. And then again, you had those 90-day wonders, which are lieutenants after training down in OS, Officer Training School. And they pushed. I had one incident with that one lieutenant. He had ordered the sergeant to empty a warehouse, bring everything outside of the building, because they were going to rearrange it. So we were emptying it out, and we came to these huge refrigerators. And I said, Sergeant, I want to suggest something. What's that, LoRicco? I said, why don't we leave the refrigerators where they are, and then when the lieutenant comes, he'll tell us where to move them. No, don't move them out. The lieutenant said move everything out. So we did. So the lieutenant comes to see how we were progressing. And he said to the sergeant, gee, Sergeant, you could have left those refrigerators where they were. That's one of the things that these guys are trained. If they say do this, they won't even think. They gotta do it that way.
Where was your base located in Korea?
Well, I was up in a town called Moonsani. And I don't remember how far it was from the DMZ. I don't remember the distance.
Okay.
But I was in the infantry, and it was military, and it was constant training. Training, guard duty. We were guarding a military bunker, main battle position they called it. Rebuilding them. And again, there was a second lieutenant that sort of made me laugh because it was the middle of February and those bunkers were bags of sand. So he wanted us to break the bad ones up and replace them with good bags. So I took the pick and I swung it, and the pick literally bounced off the bag because it was so frozen. So the lieutenant got real mad and he grabbed the pick from me and he said, here, I'll show you how to do it. And he swung it, and guess what? It bounced off the bag. Then I interrupted him and I said, you know, Lieutenant, there's an easier way to do that. He said, what's that, LoRicco? I said, wait till spring.
What were the weather conditions like usually?
Cold. Not as much snow, but cold. I remember one time I was battling, guarding the main battle position, or whatever they call it, MVP. And it was Christmas Eve. And here it was cold and windy. I don't know if I can say this, but you can cut it out if you don't want it. So I'm guarding that thing and I had to relieve myself. There was no place to relieve yourself except for this 55-gallon drum that was sticking out of the ground with a toilet seat on it. And I remembered, I said, well, here goes, and I had to do it. Cold as anything. And I hear this music from the village. And the music was Oh Holy Night.
What did you do during your off-duty time for recreation to keep busy?
We had an off, what do they call that club?
The OC club?
OCS? No,
Yeah. I believe so.
I can't remember.
The officer club.
Yeah, it wasn't for officers. It was anybody.
Okay.
There's a big national group. I can't remember the name. So we used to go there, especially on a Friday 10-cent night. Any drink you wanted for 10 cents. We took advantage of that.
Was there anything that you did for good luck? Did you ever believe in luck when you were over there?
Did I believe in luck?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. There's nobody more lucky than me. I had a black sergeant, nice guy, Isaac Washington was his name. And he had been busted down many times for drinking. So he was only one stripe above me. And No, I'm sorry, he wasn't. He was 3 stripes, and I didn't have my stripe yet. And he always said that he couldn't buy a ticket to a theater in Georgia where he lived. And I was writing to my congressman, and he got a hold of my letters and saw the U.S. Congress on the envelope, and he thought I was a real rich kid, big shot, you know. So I said to myself, I gotta get transferred out of this unit. So we were out on maneuvers, doing nothing but just maneuvering. And I faked a toothache. So they sent me down to Seoul, Korea. And then in the base, at the base in Seoul, I saw the sign that said data processing. I said, this is my chance. I walked in and I met 2 sergeants. One was Sergeant Shan and the other one was Sergeant Ho, both Hawaiians. And I said, any chance of getting transferred down here? He said, let's see what you can do. So he took me in the back by the IBM machines and he asked me to do this and do that and do this, and I did everything. He said, that's enough, that's enough. He said, we want you to talk to Captain Nance and then we'll get you transferred down here. So that was my lucky break. I got to see Captain Nance. He said, don't worry, we'll get you down there. And sure enough, I don't remember how many days, but they got orders to ship me out of military MOS 111 to 742. But when I got there were stipulations. If Joe Chink came over the line, I had to go back. So they advised me to get a military driver's license. Get the Jeep license, and then the 3/4 ton license. So I went for my Jeep test and I passed, no problem. I went for the 3/4 truck, I passed, no problem. Then they sent me for the 2.5 ton truck. And I was advised, don't get that, because when they have the alerts, you gotta get all the IBM machines, you gotta move them all out of the building and secure them, and you're there for days doing that. So I took my test for the 2.5 ton and I failed it. Sergeant said to me, how can anybody fail it? We're gonna take it again. All right, took it again, grinded the gears, I failed the test again. So they never bothered me after that.
What was the best part about your service experience?
The best part? Well, I can tell you the worst part.
All right, start there.
Being away from home. That was the worst part. The best part came after I got out. Then I realized that if it wasn't for the American soldier showing what we can do for the people of the world, the people that are starving, the kids, not the politicians, but the individual soldier. They're the ones that make America proud. That's about it.
How did you stay in contact with your family when you were overseas?
I wrote letters every day to my wife.